The dark times are the times that define us. It's not the successes, right? When things are going great, when everything's working, that's like, okay, great, congratulations. But it's those dark times. It's the things that happen to us that aren't ideal, that we've got to figure out. That's what builds our strength. That's what builds our character and toughness. The best thing that was happening, if there is something else in a higher power that is sort of directing and helping and sort of guiding you on this journey that is life, he, she, whatever your perception of higher power is, definitely had a plan in place and gave me what I needed, not what I wanted. Failure sucks regardless of when it happens, how it happens. It sucks, but it's going to happen.
Oh my God, we got a Beer Biceps Alpha M collab coming your way. Adam Marino.
What is going on, everybody? Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting.
Welcome to the Ranveer Show.
I have been a fan of yours ever since. I mean, all of a sudden, it seemed like I started seeing all these little comments on my videos about, oh, you need to go check out Beer Biceps. And I'm like, Beer Biceps? I'm like, what the heck is that? And so I went and I looked, and the information and the videos that you were putting out, like, literally blew my mind. Because I'm like, man, this guy gets it. He just gets it. And it's been really fascinating and amazing for me personally to watch your growth in this journey, personally and professionally. And so to be on your podcast is a true honor. To be talking to your people is also amazing. So thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you, my brother. Welcome to the Ranveer Show. But I have to begin this podcast by telling you a story. I don't know, actually, you may not be able to see it behind me, but there's a board. There's my study desk right behind me. And I started out this journey in 2015, August. And I think you were at about 700K subs back then. And within a week of starting out Beer Biceps, a friend of mine sent me your channel. That was the first time I saw Alpha M, and I binge watched a lot. And I think very soon after that, you hit 1 million. I remember your growth from 700K to a mil was like very, very fast. And in that 1 million video was super emotional. But you also mentioned that you took 7 years to hit that mark, and it was, true hustle. So it inspired me. But the other thing I did was I kind of used your blueprint as a reference. So I actually wrote 7 years on a piece of paper. And until I hit 1 million, there was a 7 years, that paper with the 7 years written on it was on my study table. And behind it, it was, I'd written Alpha M.
But you did it before 7 years. It was much faster.
Yeah, that's the advantage of being in India, like having like so many people. But man, I cannot explain to you. It's not just me. There's a lot of brown dudes out there who I've met. You have no idea how many people your voice is reaching out to. So how does that feel?
Oh, man. It's overwhelming, to be honest. And that was something that, YouTube and this whole platform and realizing that you have the ability to affect so many people, it was almost scary for me when I realized it. And I've said this before, but I'll say it to you, to your audience as well. YouTube has made me be a better person. And really the reason is because I don't want to let anybody down. And, it's very, very upsetting to me when I see these people that I admire and, maybe they're celebrities or people, in politics or whatever it may be, that, you have this image of them, and all of a sudden they do something that totally like shatters your perspective of who they are, and it really lets you down. And so YouTube has made me realize that with this incredible voice, this incredible platform, I've got a responsibility, and I've got a responsibility not to let people down. And so that for me required me to sort of walk the walk. And so YouTube as a result, indirectly caused me to be and beneficial, it's a benefit, but it's caused me to be a better person. And so, it's overwhelming though. I mean, realizing that, this is the opportunity I have, the fact that people actually listen to me and want to hear what I have to say. It was life changing for me. And, it feels amazing, but it's also a little bit scary because I just don't want to screw things up,
I'm telling you, your army of fans believes in you completely, man. Like, I have this big mentor in my life who has always told me that, Ranveer, you've got to aim to create 1,000 other Ranveers. And as long as you do that, you'll have achieved your goal. And I just want to tell you, man, like anything I'm doing through Beer Biceps, you have been a part of like the inspiration behind that. So, on a personal level, you help give me a lot of confidence, both as a YouTuber and just as a brother. And okay, for example, like one quick example is that we're both like on the shorter side. We're around the same height. And I remember watching a video of you talking about how short guys should dress and, carry themselves.
Yeah.
Man, hearing you say that just kind of, it was like this explosion of confidence for all the short guys over the world.
That's the one thing that I hear from a lot of guys who are on the shorter side. And it always upset me to hear them talk about their height like it was some handicap or it was some personality flaw or something. I mean, being short is just a characteristic, and just because you're short, that shouldn't be an excuse. And don't let it be an excuse in order to not go after your dreams or date the girl or date the guy or accomplish and be successful and make a lot of money. Like, being short has nothing to do with it. It's just a characteristic of you, your personality, or your person, and we're all beautiful and different in different ways. Everybody has insecurities. And I personally don't believe being short should be one of them. And I've never let it interfere with my ability to go after my dreams and my goals and be successful. And I hope that through my experience and my being able to sort of talk about that and letting people know, hey, look, I'm a short guy. I'm confident. Don't worry about it. It's awesome. Being short is amazing. Hopefully it helps, other short dudes out there around the world. And so apparently you got a little boost of confidence and I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
100%. For those of you wondering, we're both about 5'6", 5'7".
5'6" and a half, man. It's a very important half inch.
For sure. That's about like 170 centimeters for you European listeners. And the other thing I really want to ask Aaron is that, now here's the thing. After watching your channel, I definitely learned how to dress better, how to take better care of my grooming routine, all that. But the other big kind of ability I gained is the ability of confidence to just go and talk to people. And I believe that both when it comes to the women and when it comes to business, that's that one ability that just makes you, it puts you in another league. So, man, I want to ask you, earlier when you were way younger, I know you're Alpha M now. You're like the symbol of international confidence. But back in the day, back in the day, did you ever let your height, talk against you? Did you ever have a voice in your head that kind of chipped away at your confidence levels?
My height, no, but other things, yes.
Like what?
It was, I grew up with an abusive, or actually two abusive stepfathers. And so from a very young age, I was very aware that I needed, I don't know that I needed to, but one of the defense mechanisms was that I sort of shut down. And it interfered with my ability to sort of stand up for myself. And so literally from the age of like 12 years old until I actually went and sought help for myself through counseling and talking to somebody at the age of 24, I didn't have the ability or the confidence to stand up for myself. Confrontation scared the heck out of me. And, it wasn't until I was 24 that I sort of embraced, making sure that I had the tools in order to get over this, because I realized that it was interfering with my ability and my life. And so that was a big issue. Another confidence thing that I've dealt with personally is feeling inferior intellectually. And one of the reasons for that is because I am not somebody who sits down and reads a lot of books. And in this world that we operate in and that we live, a lot of value is placed on people for, the amount of knowledge that they acquire and the amount of books that they actually read. And I never really enjoyed reading because I went to this special school that taught you how to spell based on phonics. And it was, you would spell how the words would sound as opposed to how they really were really were, spelled. And this was something that, for most kids, they have an easy ability to switch over. In first grade, I did not. And so reading and spelling had always been something that I had struggled with. Grammar and punctuation, I'm just not good at. And so that's another one of my big insecurities, was the fact that I don't read very much. I can read, and I read and consume a lot of content, but in terms of, when people would always ask me, oh, what's your favorite book? And I would actually lie for a long time until I sort of got comfortable in the fact that, some people like to read, some people don't, and it's okay. And I sort of, embrace that. And so, yeah, so we all have insecurities. I think that's, you do, I do, we all do, everybody listening has insecurities. And the funny thing about insecurities is that they're invisible oftentimes, right? And so most people, when you tell them, hey, I'm insecure about this, or I'm insecure about that, or I don't like the size of my nose, or my ears stick out, they look at you and they go, what? Because they don't perceive this as a problem or a fault. But it's funny, but we are our own worst critics. And so when we look in the mirrors, we see the 5 pounds of extra body fat. We see the little bit of man boobs that we might be rocking, but to the outside world, we're perfect. And so yeah, insecurity, it's definitely something that I've struggled with. Mine have been obviously different than a lot of yours or people listening, but I think we all have them.
Yeah, 100%. Mine, and I think I'm still dealing with it today. It's this fear of not making it as big as I want to make it in life, man. Like, I really, really want to become the Jack Ma of India, the Elon of India. And I think I'm on track with it, but it's just one of those things that I'm trying to make peace with as I grow up.
Unfortunately, though, what you're falling into the trap that I think a lot of us do. And one of the downsides to social media is that, that we compare ourselves to everybody else, right? You are so far ahead of me, of when I was your age, of so many people. Like, you have taken it to the next level, and your drive and motivation is such an inspiration, not only for me, but I'm sure everybody who watches you and consumes your content and meets you. You're inspiring. And the fact that you had the ability and have the ability to change so many lives, you're a success more than most people ever would dream to accomplish in a lifetime already. And so don't be too hard on yourself. But I understand that drive, because you never want to settle. And I'm the same way. And it's scary to think about not achieving your destiny or what you feel you're capable of.
That means a lot, man. That's why you're Alpha M. But if I had to ask you the origin story of this superhero image that you've built out, what would it be, man? Where did your origins happen?
In the gym. It all started at 12 years old when my mom gave me a fitness membership to a gym and would drop me off after school. That's where it all started. Because even though I had not the greatest home life, I found savior. I found my confidence. I found my voice. I found weightlifting, and I found a home. And it was the gym that gave me my confidence and my courage, honestly, to continue to move forward and press forward. Fast forward then, for me, my life has been sort of different iterations. One of the beautiful things about my journey is that, when I started YouTube back, it was like 11 years ago or something of that nature, 11 or 12 years ago, I was a little bit older than most people that start YouTube. I was, in my 30s. I had already had businesses that have failed. I've had some successes, but the majority of my businesses up until that point were failures. And so when I came to YouTube, I've already lived a life. I've already had, highs and lows and suffered, tremendous loss and been completely, basically at my darkest days and my lowest point. And so everything has sort of been on the upswing since then. And so when you've been as low as I have been in regards to business and professionally and emotionally, and you start to see a little bit of success and you start to see that people actually value your opinion. For me now, what success looks like is just being able to do what I love every day and to affect people and help them. And I feel like if I'm able to do that, that's ultimately what I was put on this earth to do. And so I'm going to try and do that until my time to go to the big wardrobe in the sky.
Beautiful, man. Do you feel that dark phase was important in order to create you today? Like, do you look back and say, hey man, that's why I got built?
I wouldn't, absolutely. I think that's the dark times are the times that define us. It's not the successes, right? When things are going great, when everything's working, that's like, okay, great, congratulations. But it's those dark times. It's the things that happen to us that aren't ideal, that we've got to figure out. That's what builds our strength. That's what builds our character and toughness. And for me, growing up poor, going through bankruptcy, having businesses fail, losing my best friend, like all of these things were critical to my development as a person and critical to me as an individual, basically building my toughness, my strength, and ultimately getting comfortable in my own skin. And so I absolutely think that growing up poor is an advantage for those people that don't look at their situation as the defining characteristic of who they are, but just use that as a tool and as motivation to pick themselves up and make something of themselves. The dark times, I think that they're critical for development.
Beautiful. And what are you up to right now in life? Like, other than the YouTube channel, what do you do?
So right now I'm at a good point, but I'm at a sort of an inflection point for me personally. I have the YouTube channel, which has allowed me to open and run a few different businesses. I have a advertising agency called Menfluential Media, where we represent a bunch of different men's lifestyle influencers and negotiate brand deals. I started that with my best friend from high school, Terry. And then I started a hair product business back in 2013 called Pete and Pedro. And then about 4 years ago, I started a men's skincare line called Tej Hanley. More recently than that, last year I launched and developed a custom sunglass company called Enemy. And right now I'm in the process of starting another business where I'm a main investor, and it's actually going to be a brick and mortar shop that is going to be pretty sweet. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. I'm not really ready to divulge exactly what it is, but so I got a lot of stuff going on, and just trying to stay healthy and happy.
Are you financially in a position where you can stop YouTubing if you want and just rely on these other businesses?
Yes.
Okay, but why do you choose not to?
Oh, I love it. I still do my own video editing. I get up in the morning thinking about my video. I get excited to film my video. And I still get that excitement. I get that nervous energy right before posting. I love reading the comments. It's what I was born to do. And so I would do it. I did it for 6 years without making any money. I'd continue to do it, if I continue to do it, even though I don't necessarily need the income in order to sustain myself or my family.
How do you come up with so much content? Like, you're the blueprint for a hardworking YouTuber. How do you come up with so much content?
It's so hard. I don't know, man. It's so hard. It's getting ideas. It's thinking outside of the box. But the other beautiful thing, when you've been doing it a long time, like we have, things change. And so the video that I did 6 or 7 years ago about denim and jeans, the information is different. And so it is about, as we as individuals and creatures develop, our perspectives develop. And so putting out new content based on old subjects also is something that I feel is critical. And so there's always something to talk about, in my opinion. Now, sometimes it's easier than others, but just thinking about it and I love the creative process and figuring out different angles to, promote and advertise products. And that, honestly, I got to be honest, one of the reasons why I'm able to continue to put out as much content is because I have a lot of advertising that I do on these videos. And so when you've got a brand that has a product and they say, okay, this is the product, it forces me to be creative and think of different ways to integrate it into the topic that I'm talking about. So advertising has actually been one of the reasons why I've been able to continue to generate as much creativity and content as I do.
I know you're someone who's super humble as a guy. That's probably because of your upbringing and, whatever you went through in your past. So I know for a fact that you're not the kind of person who takes their success for granted. And my question to you is, man, the YouTuber life can be intense. I've spoken to a lot of YouTubers from all over the world. A lot of people dealing with mental health issues, confidence issues. Everyone thinks that, you know what, probably tomorrow all this might collapse and then I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So when was the last time you had a phase like that?
Yesterday.
Just before you... Oh, okay,
No,
beautiful.
Before that. Every day I think that. Every day I deal with these issues. No, it's a constant battle. It's a battle with yourself. It's a battle with your brain, just to stay level and, to not freak out when views are bad. We're currently dealing with, the day that we're recording this, we're still dealing with this international crisis, with the quarantine and everything. And it's affected a lot of things. It's affected, my YouTube views. It's affected my businesses in terms of sales. And so yeah, I actually had an anxiety attack about 2 weeks ago when I was driving, just thinking about sort of the magnitude and the fact that I've worked so hard to do what I've done and to build what I've built. And the thought of not having control scares me. I'm a control freak to some degree. And I think you probably are as well. And so, so feeling out of control and feeling like I don't have control or my hands around this situation just really frightened me. And I had a moment and I got through it. I breathed deeply. I meditated a little bit and sort of thought, okay, there's nothing I can do to change this, but what I can do is focus on myself and work and be disciplined. And that for me helps me get through the hard times, getting back to work.
100%. My question to you was going to be, how did you pull yourself out of it? But you answered it pretty much. I once had one of these anxiety attacks recently, about a month ago. I was with another mentor of mine. And I told him that, you know what, I want this to be my MVP season. I've had one bad year. Yep. So I was trying to set up my own media company for the last 2 years. And I felt like this last 1 year was my last year where I wanted to be hands-on with it. Now I wanted to start focusing on my YouTube game again from this year onwards. And I told him that, I'm going to be the MVP this year. This is going to be my year. And he told me that it's great to have hopes and ambitions like that, but no MVP decides that this season's going to be my MVP season. An MVP only preps himself to play well in one game. So you take one day at a time, you take one game at a time. And I think at the end of the day, you got to trust yourself with the fact that you brought it from point A to point Z. So you'll definitely be able to take it further. And I also just want to add here that, man, Aaron, like if you get out in a mall in Delhi or Mumbai or Bangalore, you will be mobbed. That's your level of fame in this country. I can tell you for a fact. I'm in the wrong
place. I need to come and see you.
you're always welcome in India. But,
okay, good. I plan to get there sometime when we start to travel again. I do want to actually come because I do see all the comments on my videos from gentlemen in your neck of the woods, and I need to come and say, hey. I mean, it really is amazing, the support and the love that I've received. And so I definitely know that I need to come over.
100%. When you were starting out, did you think that you'd be talking to this part of the world as well? Like, did you have that vision?
I didn't know when I started, if I'm being completely honest, I didn't know that anybody would listen or watch. This was back in 2008 when I started my channel. And so I had no concept of what really YouTube was. This is before anybody was making any money. It was just a place to upload a video. I didn't understand what a subscriber was. And really what hooked me on this platform was on that first video, I basically got a comment from a gentleman said, hey, I'm a big guy. I don't know what to wear. Can you help me out? And so the second video, next day, I'm filming a video about what to wear if you're a heavyset guy. And it was at that moment that I was hooked. But I had no idea really what YouTube was all about when I started. So no, I never envisioned this at all.
It's been 12 years since you're doing this. So where do you think YouTube is going to be in 2032? And what do you think you'll be doing 12 years from now?
5-year plans have never worked out for me, so I don't make them. I don't know. I don't allow myself to really think far in advance. I don't have any idea. It's changed so much in the past 10 years, in the past 5. YouTube has changed in the past 2 years drastically. And so I'm not sure. I think I definitely will still be making videos. I don't know to what frequency. I don't know what the content will revolve around. But I'm confident that in 10 years, God willing, I will still be healthy enough to do this and still have a passion to help people. And so I think I'll still be making YouTube videos. In terms of what the platform looks like, I have no idea.
Do you believe in God, Aaron?
I do.
And like, what's the origin story of that? Like, is it a childhood thing? Because I didn't believe in God in my childhood, and it's something that kind of came into my life a little later.
No, it's funny because what spirituality means to me is different than what it means to probably a lot of people. In terms of an organized religion, I do not practice one specific religion. My family is Italian Catholic, and so, growing up, everybody in my family was very, very Catholic. And so, going to mass, going to, church and everything was very important. My mother, on the other hand, she was more of like a hippie, a free spirit. And she did not want me to basically be locked into the ideologies of an organized religion. She wanted me to sort of discover things on my own. And my father is actually a Buddhist. And so from the age of like 12, he started practicing Buddhism. And so I have seen, and then I started, long story short, I started researching different world religions just for my personal, interest. I was interested to see, well, there are all these different religions, and are they really honestly like kind of saying the same thing, just using different, names for things? And so I was very interested in religion. And so, theology and iconology is all something that I'm very interested in. I do have I feel a very, personal connection with my God. And I think that is a big part of my life and something that I believe in. What it means, do I think that he's sitting on a big chair up there? I don't. But I do believe.
Have you had experiences in your life where your strength in God has like increased after having a certain experience? Not
really. And the reason why I say that is because every time I was going through something really bad, like whether or not it was my business failing, I would pray really hard, right? Oh God, please just let me get through this. Oh, please let me figure this out. Oh, please, 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 please. And when it didn't work out the way that I thought it should, I'd get upset and I'd get mad. I'd be like, well, if there's really, or then then you see people dying or loved ones. My wife's brother passed away at the age of 44. You see these things. It's like, well, if there was a God, like, why would this happen? But I think that was a much more like, to answer the question, no, but yes. At the time when I'm trying to utilize my spirituality in order to get something for myself, it hasn't worked and I would get upset. But it was in retrospect and only in later perspective that you're able to realize that the best thing that was happening, if there is something else in a higher power that is sort of directing and helping and sort of guiding you on this journey that is life, he, she, whatever your perception of higher power is, definitely had a plan in place and gave me what I needed, not what I wanted. And so, if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Do you now look back at those moments and say that, oh, this is what God was trying to tell me. Oh, okay, this is what.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about hindsight, right? It's super crystal clear, but at the time you're so busy being scared and hopeless and helpless and fearful that you don't have the ability to sort of see through, what do they say? See the trees for the forest, or whatever that saying is. And so, it's been a journey. It's been a journey for sure.
I invite you to India to experience like the spiritual aspects of this country, man. Like at some point in your life, definitely make a trip to the Himalayas. And it's not from like a religious perspective, or it's nothing ritualistic, but I feel a lot of people go deeper into themselves. They become super self-aware when they spend time in certain parts of this country.
Yeah.
And that's the big.
And another, like, when I feel closest to God, and when I'm in nature and when I see things that are beautiful, when I see the humanity in people, like, these are the situations and environments where I feel the closest and really feel the presence of a higher power. And so, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I watched a documentary recently. I love music documentaries, and I believe it was George Harrison from the Beatles who came and did he come? He came to India, correct?
All the Beatles came to India. They
Yeah.
went to a place called Rishikesh.
But he was the one who really like embraced it to like just the next level. And with the yoga and the meditation and all that. And so it's been, I'm familiar and understand that is something that I probably should do in the future.
I think it will happen to you, and hopefully we'll do that trip together.
Excellent.
But
I need a tour guide. Somebody show me what to eat.
I would love to be that guy. I want to change up gears completely, and I want to ask you about the best and worst aspect of your Shark Tank experience. When you did that whole thing, I think you've been on it twice. Mm-hmm. So just encapsulating both those incidents, what was your best and worst aspects of it?
The best aspect of the Shark Tank experience was just the process of being out there in California and filming the episodes. Because we make YouTube videos, that was the first time I really saw like the production and the behind the scenes. And so that was like my Super Bowl. And so the best part about it was just going out there and being a part of it and meeting all of these other entrepreneurs, because one of the aspects to Shark Tank that you don't realize is that they film like half of the season within like a 1 week period. And all of the entrepreneurs that you see, they're all staying at this one hotel. And so you get to actually, like, everybody at this hotel is an entrepreneur going on Shark Tank. And so the first time I was on, the thing that was so surprising to me was how smart so many people were. And just being able to be around that many, creative entrepreneurs was nothing I've ever experienced before. I think one of the unfortunate realities of being an entrepreneur is that it's lonely. It's a lonely journey oftentimes. And if you don't have business partners, if you don't have people on your team, especially when you're starting out, it's a solo thing. And so not having the ability or people to actually commiserate with or to share the highs and the lows, and talking to your friends who are not entrepreneurs, they don't understand what you're dealing with or what you're going through exactly. They can relate, but they can't necessarily understand. And so going out there and just being immersed in a sea of entrepreneurship and creativity, that was the best part. The worst part about Shark Tank was let's see, what was the worst part about Shark Tank? I think it's the decompression afterwards. It's a huge letdown. For me, it was actually the first time I was on. I didn't get a deal the first time, but I was sure that I was going to be able to sell a lot of my product, which was the Alpha M style system. And when that didn't happen, and the first night it aired, I sold one style system after the anticipation had been built up for months and months and months. That was very hard emotionally. I think I got depressed for probably a few days. I shouldn't say I was depressed, because I wasn't technically depressed, but I was upset and I was a little bit bummed out.
I mean, I completely get it, man.
Yeah, it was hard for me. But those were the two high. That was the high and the low of the experience. It was amazing though. I loved both times.
And this is something I've wanted to ask you for a while, probably since I began watching your channel. What are you working towards? What's your end goal?
That's something I'm trying to figure out. And I'm being complete. I know that it sounds like a cop-out. I don't know. I think for me, I've got different goals for my businesses. YouTube, I don't really have a goal. There's not really this once I reach this point in terms of subscribers, once I reach this 10 million, there's not really that point at which I'm thinking, oh, once I reach this, then like that's it. That's sort of an ongoing thing. But for my businesses, I do have goals, but my goals are, annually. I want to do better than I did the year before, hiring new people and getting over different benchmarks. And so professionally, I have, financial goals. But in terms of ultimately what I want, I just want to be happy. And I know that sounds like a cop-out, but it's not. Truly, I love what I'm doing, and I hope that I can continue to do this as long as I'm able to. And I think that the direction will show itself to me when I'm supposed to see it. And right now, I just am focused on achieving small incremental goals with each of my businesses, small baby steps. And I don't care to be the Elon Musk of my state of Georgia. I don't have that. I just want to be viewed as a successful entrepreneur, and I want to feel personally fulfilled. And so if I can accomplish that, I've accomplished that. I want to continue to accomplish that and just take it, to the next level.
So here's how I look at you. I think people already view you as a successful entrepreneur. Financially, I mean, people view you as like this master entrepreneur. But most of all, I think it's the impact you're creating all over the world. It's not just in your country. Like, I think that's something, again, this comes from your humility that you're not able to digest that, but you have no idea about the kind of confidence you're spreading all over the world. So I think you're achieving your goals every day, and you're probably someone who just wants to re-achieve it every single day and keep it going, just like a true entrepreneur.
And it helps me. I mean, honestly, it's these little momentary sort of glimpses of happiness and success and seeing that you're making a difference. Like, that helps me and fuels me. I mean, the reason why, I am as fulfilled as I am is because I do have the ability to get feedback from people. And I do realize, and I get the emails, that I am making a difference in some lives. And so for me, I don't think there's any bigger purpose is to help people. And so I'm able to do that. And so I feel good. The fact that I can make a living doing it as well is just a bonus.
Because you're an entrepreneur, I'm dead sure you're very self-aware. What's your biggest strength and weakness in life, professionally speaking?
Professionally speaking, I know my weakness. I know I've got a lot of weaknesses. My biggest weakness is myself in terms of getting out of my own way. I hold myself back because I am resistant to change. I am a creature of habit. I like routine. I like to be safe. And I think that is also sort of a unintended consequence of my upbringing, growing up poor, growing up in abusive, family situations. I want to stay in my cocoon. If I'm happy, if I'm safe right here, if I've got enough, if I'm safe, if I understand and feel I can control my current environment, I want to stay here. But unfortunately, as you know, you can't grow without taking risks and getting uncomfortable. And so for me, it's pushing myself and being aware that I need to push myself in order to get out of this comfort zone that I'm in. And my best decisions, financial decisions, have been the ones that I was scaredest to make. Hiring people, taking risks, taking chances. Those have been ultimately the most beneficial, but they were the scariest for me. And so for me, I am not good at being uncomfortable. And so that's probably one of my biggest weaknesses. The other weakness I have is I'm a control freak. Even though I understand I'm not good at a lot of things, for me, giving up power and control is not easy. It doesn't come easy. It's come easier in the past few years as I've seen that, hey, if I can get this off of my plate, if I can give something that I'm not great at or I don't love doing to this person, they can run with it. They love doing it. I can do just what I love doing, which is create content and sort of being higher level, then great. It moves the needle and it raises the ocean for me. And so, that's another aspect. But in terms of strength, I think my strength is my ability to work really hard and stay focused even when things aren't fun or sexy or exciting.
Do you think that's the one thing you've done right in this whole Alpha M entrepreneurship journey?
Yeah, there's another strength that I have, and that is as I'm not scared to fail. Because when you've failed as bad as I've failed and been as low as I have, you know, it's like, what's the worst thing that happens? If I try this, if I want to try this and it doesn't work out, what's the worst thing? I'm going to be driving a beer cart. I'm going to be bankrupt. Okay, I've already done that and I've survived. And so my willingness to take chances and risks, calculated though. I don't just run into things blind. You know, I have learned a lot over the years. I've had a lot of, you know, failures. I've had some successes, but as a result of the collective, it's allowed me to sort of be willing to put myself out there without the fear of failure. Failure sucks regardless of when it happens, how it happens. It sucks, but it's going to happen. And if you truly are going to be successful, it's going to happen a lot, honestly, because I think you're going to constantly be trying and doing iterations of different things. And so just the ability to not take it too personally and be scared to fail. That's another one of my strengths.
Beautiful. So I kind of got to change gears here, but it's in that same mode. Because you saw bankruptcy kind of early in life, I'm sure that's affected your viewpoint on money. So what do you do with your money right now? And this, I'm not asking Aaron Marino, the entrepreneur. I'm asking Aaron Marino, the brother. Like, how do you take care of your money? Specifically, where do you invest it? How do you ensure that it's going to keep multiplying?
So for me, I don't have any debt. And that is something where, when I went through bankruptcy, when I was starting my image consulting business, debt it killed me. It killed your creativity. It killed your joy. It killed my passion for life, being in debt and being worried about how I was going to pay my bills. So I swore that once that bankruptcy happened, I would never have debt again. And so I haven't. And so all of my businesses are self-funded. Never raised any money, never taken any debt. And so that's one thing. I also pay for things in cash, pay them off. So I don't have mortgages. I don't have things of that nature because because debt scares me. You know, in the situation, I say this to people, like, I want to be in a position where if the internet explodes and the world shuts down, I'm okay and my family's okay. And so, you know, it's funny, but that's kind of the situation that we've been in the past month, right? The world is kind of shut down and it's like, I didn't really think I was actually going to have to manage this. And so, I invest in myself. I invest in my businesses. I invest in, 401ks and things of that nature. I also, take care of my family and, real estate. I own, quite a bit of real estate and, a few rental units. One of the businesses I'm about to start is going to be, another business that I'm going to be part owner in. But I'm also going to be the landlord. And so I'm going to get rent along with my percentage of equity out of that business. And so I also do a little bit of angel investing as well in companies that I believe in, that I think are going to do good things. And I just want to be a part of their story. And it allows me to do what I do, which is have a little bit of money that I can contribute and offer some advice where I can, and invest money there as well. And so that's how I invest my money. I also, own some stocks and invest money in some of the markets. But for me, that's honestly the scariest thing because I don't have control over it. And
got it.
So, but yeah, so that's how I manage my money, my finances. Everybody tells me that I shouldn't pay off real estate and stuff, but it makes me sleep better at night. So
what's the best and worst thing about being an American?
I guess I'm not sure what I guess that's an interesting question. I've never been asked that question before. I think the worst thing is that we're spoiled brats.
What do you mean?
And I think that we take a lot of things for granted. We've never experienced true hardship. I mean, we have, over the course of our history, but I think that we are a nation of entitled. We feel, a lot of our people feel entitled to things, including success and comfort, when, we are very insulated from the reality that is life and the world. And so I feel like that is probably one of the downsides to being an American, is that we're a little bit soft in regard to, we haven't seen war we haven't seen bombs dropped on our heads like we're sort of protected, and we're here and we're safe and we're comfortable. And this is one of it was 9/11. That was one of the first times that I think it really rocked us as Americans and made us realize, whoa, maybe we're not as safe as we think we are. And then this situation that we're having right now, I think this also is another game changer for us because we've never experienced this. And so I think that this is good. I think that if there is a silver lining, there are a bunch of silver linings in the current, coronavirus issue and crisis that we're facing. But one of them is that I think it's forcing us to toughen up a little bit and to do a little soul searching and perspective seeking. In terms of the best part, we've got an amazing country that is the land of opportunity. If you've got an idea and you've got an internet connection and you've got the willingness to work hard, you can be a success. And so, anything is possible.
Got it. But can you break down that land of opportunity thing a little more? Like, what does it mean? Because you hear people say that, but I'm sure living in America, you get a different kind of perspective on that whole statement.
I think that it's hard to sort of put it in perspective when you grew up here. I think that is one of the reasons why, I think that immigrants to this country have a much deeper respect and appreciation for this country and for the opportunities that present itself here. Growing up here, you don't know any different. You know that, okay, if you work hard, if you don't, have a victim mindset and you figure things out, you can accomplish, whatever you want. This country wants you to be comfortable, and our government has set things up for that. Honestly, we take care of people, to some degree, but, it's an opportunity. Or this country is a land of opportunity. There's great resources, there's great wealth, and like I said, if you've got an idea and you've got the willingness to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty and figure things out, you can. And there's no excuse here, no excuse.
So my perspective as an outsider is that the big challenge we deal with in India and just generally Asia is that it's very kind of price point sensitive. So any product that you're putting out here, the cheapest product wins. That's the ground rule. So you got to have basically a huge number of products created to bring down your cost price.
Sure.
And that's the key to business here. But I feel with business in America, people are a lot more open to spending money. People respect the quality of products way more. That's probably my reading of land of opportunity.
Yeah.
But my question to you, we spoke a little bit about the coronavirus situation. What are people in USA thinking about the whole situation? What's everyone's attitude on an average? I know there's different people everywhere and all that. But on an average, what are people thinking?
Everybody is freaking out a little bit because, like I said, this is not something that we've ever experienced, at least that I know of, to this magnitude, at least not in my lifetime or my parents' lifetime. Everybody is very concerned. I think at first, when, we heard about this coronavirus thing, it was something else. It was something over in China. It wasn't, going to affect us, sort of like SARS or the bird flu or these other sort of, auxiliary diseases or sicknesses. We sort of thought that's what it was. And it was over there. It's not here. Once again, we're safe. We're in America. And then the proverbial shit hit the fan a little bit, and things started to get a little bit uncomfortable. And it's like, whoa, wait a second. People here are dying. People here are catching it. And that's when everybody sort of sat up and was like, uh-oh, what are we going to do? And then everybody went out and bought toilet paper.
Wow.
Yeah, everybody was buying toilet paper. Still, to this day, a month later, the stores have meat, they've got produce, they've got food, they don't have toilet paper. Everybody hoarded the toilet paper, apparently. And so,
how are people cleaning themselves up?
Exactly. But no, people are managing. I think everybody is now taking it very seriously and just doing what they need to do in order to stay safe. And I think that this environment that we are in is going to leave a lasting impression. And so once again, I think that one of the silver linings that has come out of this for us as a world and us as a country here is that we're going to look at things a little bit differently. And I think that the things that we've taken for granted are going to be a little bit sweeter now. And the longer that this lasts, the longer that we are in isolation or quarantine, the longer or the more lasting and the deeper the impact is going to be moving forward.
As an entrepreneur, what's your big business opportunity that you've spotted for the time period post coronavirus? Are you looking at things that way? Because I mean, that's just the nature of being an entrepreneur. Like, you kind of think of how your consumers will behave, what will happen to the world. And they say that the biggest businesses are built in and around massive waves that hit the world. So I strongly believe that there's this whole thing called stay home economy. Basically, people's requirements at home. So you go around your own house, you figure, okay, this is what's lacking here, this is what's lacking here. And the businesses which tap into those vacuums, the businesses that say, okay, I think I should make a product for that, which primarily is at home situations. Those are the businesses that are going to take off. But what's your kind of opportunity that you're seeing as an entrepreneur?
No, I see that as absolutely accurate. I think that there's this whole subculture of people that are called like preppers, right? Have you heard of that term, prepper? You're a prepper. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but so, you'll need to explain it for the audiences.
So explain it. Yeah. So a prepper is somebody who is always preparing for like the apocalypse or a worst case scenario, or not to have food or water, for the economy to completely shut down. And these people prepare. And for years and years and years, they've got stockpiles of foods, they've got weapons, they've got bunkers, they've got water sources. They thrive and they live for an opportunity like this. And so this is the first time it's actually happened, though. So all of these preppers and people that were prepared were finally like, yes, we're justified, we're vindicated. We told you that this was going to happen. And so there are a lot of companies that actually cater to that sort of that mindset. And so you've got a lot of prepackaged meals, you've got, the masks, you've got water filtration systems. I think that this is going to force a lot of people to start to develop a little bit more of a plan and to be prepared for something like this. And so I think that the amount of preppers that are going to come as a result of this after this is over is going to increase. And any business that is in that space is going to do incredibly well. I think home fitness is going to be another big thing because during this time, one of the first things that shut down were fitness centers and health clubs. And when that is taken away from you, what do? There's only so much home workout stuff you can do with 2 chairs and a gallon of milk, And so I think that a lot of people after this will start to sort of develop maybe like a little bit of a more structured fitness, basically a home workout equipment and dumbbells and things of that nature. And so it's funny because there is a place around me that sells fitness equipment. And my buddy went in there to try and buy something, and they've been sold out. Like, it's sold out.
Wow.
Completely. They're like, we've had the best month in our history. And they've been open for like 25 years. And so I think that is one thing that we'll start to see an increase in that. In terms of some trends that I think are going to, take away the coronavirus, I think one trend that I think is going to start to become more popular is men's makeup. I think that is actually going to be not like eyeshadow and stuff like that, but like, tinted moisturizer and concealer pens for like acne. Yep. I see that as sort of the next kind of like untapped men's grooming trend that is going to really, because it's already popular in certain countries, certain cultures, and I think that is going to be something that is going to be a trend that you're going to see a lot more people getting into.
Why do you say that this thing is going to start popping after the coronavirus situation? Why specifically this trend?
Because I see what's happening, I think, before this happened, and I think that more people are getting comfortable with the fact that, and I'm, like I said, it's not like eyeshadow and lipstick, but it's just grooming products that are designed to help even out your skin tone and just give you the confidence. I think that for a long time, makeup has been taboo for men. And when you hear about men's makeup, you think, oh, real men don't wear that. And I think that one of the beautiful things about the time in which we live is that it's more about, feeling good about yourself, whatever that means, whether or not you want to actually cover up a pimple or you want to get rid of the dark circles underneath your eyes. I think this is allowing us to be more free. And I think that is going to be a trend that is going to increase in the next coming years. I believe that that's going to be a very popular thing. Just like men's grooming products, right? Men's skincare was not really a big thing 10 years ago, 8 years ago, and now it's huge. I think men's makeup is going to be one of those next hot markets.
Do you think that the fashion and grooming industry in general is going to take some kind of a hit because of the coronavirus situation? Because maybe people are going to head out less, or, at least see, that's the way it works in India. Like, I believe that something like the deodorant industry or the perfume industry, they might take a hit here because guys in India usually only put on a perfume when they're going out on a date because they want a girl to smell them. Yeah. Or, I'm sure it's like that for all men all over the world.
Yeah. So what we're seeing here in the U.S., apparel has taken a big hit from the coronavirus because you have no reason to go out and buy a really cool pair of shoes because you don't have anywhere to wear them. A t-shirt, I don't need any more t-shirts. I'm not wearing it. I'm not going to be going out anytime soon, so I'm not going to buy that. Grooming has taken a slight hit, but personal care products are still staying relatively strong. Both of my company, my hair grooming company, as well as my skincare company, they're still holding their own. They're doing okay during the time. Now we've had to modify our offer. We've had to offer some incentives and deals and things of that nature. But so far, knock on wood, the grooming space is still reasonably strong.
Got it. Because I think it's self-care. That's something people want to do on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know you don't have 5-year plans, but in your head, do you have a roadmap when it comes to your own businesses? Like, do you think that, okay, now I've set up like a hair care product, now I've set up a skincare thing, now I've set up like something else. So at some point, are we going to see like an Aaron Marino clothing line? Like, do you think of your life like that?
Yeah, I think if I'm being honest, I think that at some point, if I continue on the trajectory that I am with my two businesses, Tiege Hanley, my skincare company, and Pete and Pedro, my grooming company, I think at some point, I will be in a position or be offered or have the ability to possibly sell one or both of those businesses to a bigger conglomerate. And at that point, I think what I will be doing, honestly, I want to do more like, if I do that, then I'll have more cash in order to, help other entrepreneurs and do some more angel investing. Also, I think about going and actually, starting sort of different initiatives to help other entrepreneurs, maybe, provide seed money or, a mentorship program. I think of myself, once I'm able to sort of be in a position where money literally is no issue, I've got, enough that I can not only support myself for the rest of my life and my family, I have enough to actually help other people realize their dreams. I think I'll be doing that. In terms of my business enemy, the sunglass company, I feel like that's a very strong brand, and it's something where I don't have any pressure on it right now. I'm growing it very slowly, but I feel like that could be potentially something where I expand out of just eyewear and get into clothing and things of that nature. I think that could be a potential outlet for that. And so in the back of my head, I think, okay, 5 years, that could be something that's more present in my wheelhouse in terms of what I'm doing. I think that for that to happen, though, one of these other two big businesses has to go away.
I really enjoy talking to you, Aaron.
I've enjoyed talking to you. Why have we not done this sooner?
I do have some more questions. It's going to go a little bit on the personal side. I want to know about your family life. Like, what's the guy Aaron behind Alpha M? Like, when you take your superhero costume off, what's your family life like? What's your love life like? What kind of role has your wife played, like, even before this started out?
Yeah, no, I'm very happily married. I've been married now. Let's see, I got married in 5, 6 of 7. So what is this? 13 years. And before that, we were dating for 4. And so I've been with my wife now for, almost it's almost, 17 years, 17, 18
Wow.
years. And she's my rock. She has been, there through the very hard times and continues to be here for the good times. But there's still hard times, relationships are hard and they take work. And anybody who thinks that it's all just, amazing all the time is definitely not basing their presumption or assumption in reality. It takes work, and it takes 2 people constantly be willing to put in the time and the work. Just like anything, if you don't take care of something, it will die, and your relationship is no different. Before then, I dated. Before I met her, I dated, successfully. I did a little bit of internet dating. That was back when the internet dating thing was just starting. We have a very happy life. We don't have any children, and that was a personal decision that we've made. And let's see what else. Behind the camera, I work a lot, but when I'm not working, we enjoy going out to eat. We enjoy going on long walks and vacationing a little bit and just being together and just being very present in our relationship and our life.
With the intensity of work that you're putting in, how do you balance out like your family life? Because honestly, I've had a couple of relationships through this Beer Biceps journey, and they've ended, I won't say completely because of a lack of work-life balance, but that was definitely a factor. I've grown up a lot now. I'm not that same guy. I'm not as, I know how to manage my work-life balance a lot better now. But hey, it's always good to get some advice when it comes to work-life balance.
You could give me advice. I'm not sure how to do that. I don't know what it means. Because I don't have children, my businesses, my entrepreneurship is my baby. And it's something that I nurture. It's something that I love and I give attention to all the time. And even if, you're not with your children, you're thinking about them, you're worried about them, you're, managing them. My businesses and my career has been my baby. And so, so I am always, working to some degree, even if I'm, sitting on the couch, relaxing, that is part of the process of not thinking that you can outgrind, and just there, that I think that's one of the, Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Everybody online knows Gary V. I think one of the potential negatives that can come out of listening to him is that it puts people in the mindset that you have to work as hard as Gary Vaynerchuk. And if you're not working 24/7, 365, you're not successful or you're slacking. And so I think that he does not do a very good job of explaining, that it's not, and for him, he doesn't have it. And for him, he's doing what he knows to do right now and it's working for him. But I think for a lot of people, most people, you can't endure that. You need time to shut your brain off. And so for me, I exercise every day, typically twice a day. And so, exercise is a way, it's my outlet. It is my release. It is one of my biggest passions. And so, so my work-life balance, I don't know what that really means. It's, and my wife, she works still. She has a good job. She's a marketing director for a big engineering firm. And so she understands, and she's also seen my growth and my struggle from day one. And so she understands where the passion comes from and the fact that I work harder than anyone she knows, and she's okay with it.
Because of this intense YouTube grind, have you ever cried to her?
Not about that. She's seen me cry, but it wasn't YouTube. It was when when my fitness center was failing. That was the low point. Yeah, she's seen me cry, absolutely. Back then, that's when it was hardest for me. And so, yeah, definitely some tears were shed.
You also mentioned that, relationships require work. So could you break that down? Like, what do you mean?
You've got to be willing to put in the time and the energy into your work, just like anything, right? And you've heard this analogy before. I've heard this analogy 100 times, that relationships are like a flower. You plant it, you give it a little bit of water, it starts to grow. right? What happens if you stop watering it? Of course, it dies, it withers because it's unattended to. The same thing happens in relationships. You've got to be willing on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis to put in the time and to not get distracted by shiny objects. And what I mean by that is, I think that, in our society, I think it's gotten really weird in terms of we're bombarded by imagery of beauty and this feeling of wanting and longing for and not having this. And so we think, and we are conditioned to think that the grass is greener on the other side. When the grass is green right where you are, if you can find somebody that you love, that respects you, that is your partner, that is there for you, and that you just enjoy hanging out and chilling with, that's the person that you should be with. Beauty fades, but personality, character, and integrity does not. And so don't get distracted by shiny objects thinking you're missing out. Give the attention and the energy into your relationships and your relationship, both, with your partner, but also with your family. Invest in the people that love you and that deserve your continued support.
Why did you choose to marry your wife specifically? What did you see,
Everything. She was perfect for me. What some of the things that I respect most about her is that she's a very hard worker. And she left home when she was 16 years old because she had not the greatest family situation. And so, she's a survivor, and she has, despite her circumstances, thrived. And a work ethic, and a compassionate heart are two things that I find incredibly attractive. And so those were two things that automatically attracted me to her.
It also matches with your personality.
Yep, exactly. It just kind of fits, right?
Okay, Aaron, my last question for you on the podcast. Actually, I've got a couple of last questions. The second last question is, when you're dying, what do you want written on your tombstone? How do you want people to remember you?
I don't know. Just somebody who helped a lot of people. I think that's it. What else is there? I think that's kind of the overarching theme of what I'm trying to do. And, if I, at the end of the day, when it's all over, if I help people and I helped a lot of people and help people feel better about themselves, that's all I need.
You believe in karma? You know what karma is?
I do, very much so.
That's a huge aspect of your work, right? That's how you look at your work, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Karma. Yep. It is real.
And with the amount of people you're helping, I believe it's a way of God and the universe giving back to you, man. Like with all your businesses being successful and all that.
I believe that too.
Yeah, and you know the way you help people. You get guys to be more confident. But there's also these selected YouTubers you help all over the world unknowingly. Because I've had moments where I've broken down in front of my business co-founders. I've broken down in front of my girlfriends. And often they've referenced your channel and they've said that, look at this man. Like, he's just going for it. Like, he's always putting out content with a very calm kind of energy. And I understand that you're older than I am. So there's a certain level of maturity and, experience. And that's why you're able to do it. But I still want to ask you, like, what's your, like, I kind of want to build out something similar to what you've built out as well. So I'm open to absolutely any advice you have for me, any kind of feedback. If you think I can improve in any aspect, I'm all yours. And this is something I've wanted to ask you since 2015 when I first saw you.
I'll tell you, I look at what you're doing and I'm astounded. I don't have really any feedback other than to say congratulations and keep working hard. That's literally, I think that everything you're doing, you're on the right track, and you are so far ahead of me when I was your age that, like, who am I to give you advice, right? You are figuring this out, and you're going to make mistakes. The only advice I would say is don't beat yourself up, and just, understand that the process is going to require you to, have those breakdowns. And when you do, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up, but just get back get your mind straight and focused and continue helping people and moving in the right direction. But you're doing such a good job. I think that, your journey is one, you're just getting started, brother.
Oh, thank you, Aaron. I will be pestering you in the future on like maybe some personal phone calls the next time I'm feeling low about something. But man, I cannot thank you enough for doing this episode, not just from the perspective that you did it, but we've wanted to do these kind of podcasts for a while. I just needed to find my first hustler who'd be ready to set up on their end. So
I'm your guy.
So here's the deal. Now we're going to have to do another one for my podcast that I'm about to start. And yeah, this is just so much fun. When your team reached out to me, I was automatically, I was like, yes, whatever he wants to do, the answer is yes. I'm excited. And like I said, I've been a fan for years, and just to watch you grow and the impact you're having has just been amazing. And so keep doing what you're doing, brother, because it's definitely changing the world.
You have no idea how much that means to me coming from you. So trust me, you're one of those people that I respect the most in the world, because I feel like if there was no Alpha M, there wouldn't be a Beer Biceps. At least not the way it is built out today. So thank you for the blueprint, brother. It's something like very close to my heart. I really appreciate you. God bless you, man. I'm going to be linking all of Aaron's handles down below. I'm going to be linking his Instagram, his YouTube. Go follow, go subscribe. Aaron, any last signing off message for the tons of brown people watching this?
Brown people everywhere, just know that I love you so much, and thank you for everything, and I could never, ever repay you. Just for all of your love and support, and to keep working hard, keep your head up. Regardless of where you are right now, it does not mean that you are going to be here forever. Just stay focused. Do not let your past define who you are, and keep reaching for your dreams. Know that it will and can get better, and that you've got people out there like myself and Mr. Beer Biceps that are rooting for you, and just, stay strong and be amazing. And, Ranveer, just the fact that they've got you, it means a lot. And so congratulations to them for you, and you for them.
Thank you a million times. I will see you guys soon, and hopefully Aaron and me will create a lot more videos together.
Absolutely. You bet.
See you around.
See you.